Now the race for governor, another Democrat has filed papers for an exploratory committee. That's a necessary step in launching a campaign. First was Jim Malloy, also this week Dan Malloy, and now, of course, Susan Beisowitz, the Secretary of the State, is with us today. Madam Secretary, nice to see you back here.
Thank you so much for having me.
I know a couple of months ago you said that you really were considering running, and now it's nearly official. What's next now?
Well, I filed my exploratory papers for governor, and I have begun the process of getting organized and meeting with voters all over the state and discussing issues.
So you can start raising money for a campaign.
That's right.
And when will the official decision be made?
I'm not sure when, but some months in the future, and this is an opportunity actually to raise qualifying contributions for our publicly funded elections. We have to raise $250,000 in small contributions in order to get that done.
Why do you want to be governor?
You know, I have 3 children, and they are 13, 15, and 17, and my 17-year-old has just applied to college. And when I read a statistic recently that only half of the young people that go to college outside of the state of Connecticut come back to our state, I thought there is a lot of work to be done to make Connecticut the kind of state where my daughter, when she finishes college, will want to come back here.
What did you think of the governor's budget address this week?
You know, I think there were some good things, and I think there's some problems. I think one of the good things is that cities are breathing a sigh of relief because they at least got what they were getting last year. There's funding for schools that is flat funded, and I think, again, cities and towns are grateful for that. But I think the biggest problem is the $2 to $3 billion hole in the budget. There's still $2 billion that hasn't been addressed. I've never seen a budget where you have that hole, and our state law requires that you have a balanced budget.
If you were governor now, would you call for some new taxes or taxes to be raised?
I think I would take a look at cutting more waste in government and consolidating more agencies and making things more efficient. We really need a top to bottom review of every state agency. The governor has taken some good first steps in consolidating some of the smaller agencies, but she hasn't looked at the really big ones. And she mentioned bloated bureaucracy. Well, in fact, she's right. Over the past 14 years that she's been lieutenant governor and governor, our government has gotten bigger and a lot more expensive. We've also spent a lot more money in bonding. 1/10 of our budget goes to bonded debt, and that's something we haven't addressed. The governor did say, okay, we're going to take away $400 million in projects that we bonded for, but we have to really take a look at our bonded debt and reduce that.
Sounds like you're blaming her for the bloat.
Well, she's been either lieutenant governor or governor over the past 14 years, and that's when our government bureaucracy has really grown and our debt has grown astronomically.
The reality of this campaign, you know, the exploratory committee phase, is that now you have to convince donors to pick you over Dan Malloy and Jim Amon. What's your argument going to be?
Well, I think I have a strong record of accomplishment. I have been the CEO of a state agency that has generated $300 million for our state government in revenue. I've been a leader in voting integrity and technology in government. I have also been very frugal and have done more with less every year in our state agency, and I think that voters are looking for that. Also, I have been a leader in ethics reform. I have fought for some of the toughest ethics laws in the country, including pension revocation, that says that if you're convicted of corruption as a public official, that you forfeit your state pension. And I think voters really want integrity, honesty, and openness in government.
So right now we have basically 3 Democrats who are sort of official. They have started the committees. We
That's
have
right.
Jim Amon, Dan Malloy, and yourself. Do you expect any more to jump in the race?
You know, you never know. The great thing about the Democratic Party is we have a lot of talented statewide constitutional officers. We have talented legislators. We have talented mayors. So our issue on the Democratic side of the aisle is always who is the best of many good people.
You know, the governor remains popular in terms of approval ratings and things like that. How do you go after, you know, a governor who remains popular?
You know, I think that with our economy really in dire straits, I mean, we've had 30,000 people lose their jobs last year. Our unemployment has gone from 6.5% to over 7.5%. We have 1 in 10 people in our state without health care. We've had a record number of home foreclosures over the past year. I think people are looking for leadership. They're looking for bold action. They're looking for vision. They're not looking for reactive government. They want to know what the plan is for the future to make our state better. It's not just about the math exercise of looking at the government checkbook and balancing it. What's the plan for the future? What's our financial plan to make our education system the best in the country, to create jobs? That's what we haven't seen. That's what voters are looking for.
Briefly, one last question. Does any slogan come to mind for Susan Bysiewicz for governor?
She works hard and gets results.
Susan Bysiewicz, Secretary of the State. Nice to see you again. We'll have you back here many times during the campaign,
Thank
I
you
imagine.
so much.